Hi everyone, I've finally made it to 1,000 subs. I can't say it's due to hard work because making videos isn't really hard work. You kind of just press record and ramble. Well, that's what I do anyway. But I would like to thank a couple of people who helped me significantly to get here. CS Bear first mentioned me in a kind of funny video about how stupid Nephilim Free is sometimes about confusing women's voices. So yeah, thanks CS Bear. And Lafayette 1991, who I recently collaborated with in a child abuse video. Big thanks to him for sending, I think, just over 200 subscribers over my way. So I made a video a couple of weeks ago when I was at around 600 subs, I think, asking you to ask me questions that you were interested in knowing my answers to. And I said I would answer them when I get to 1,000 subs, so here we are. So let's get started. Before I start, I should probably warn you all that these are going to be rambly answers. I haven't had any time nor inclination to look at these questions and think about what I'm going to say. So you might end up wanting to stab yourself in the eye when I ramble on and go off topic and go on tangents about things that have nothing to do with the questions that have been asked. So yeah, just a warning. Well, please forgive me if I pronounce your username wrong when I say who has asked me the question, because there are some weird usernames out there. Anyway, first question that popped up on the video was from Clangedon, which was simply, what got you interested in psychology? Well, I originally wanted to be a forensic scientist. Ever since I was a little girl, instead of saying I wanted to be a unicorn or a fairy, I said I wanted to be a forensic scientist and help catch baddies and collect blood from dead people. So I can't blame my parents for thinking there was maybe something a little bit wrong in my head. But okay, what got me interested in psychology? I love people. I wouldn't say I'm a people person. I love watching people, but I am fascinated by why we do the things we do. I think why is the main question that really got me interested in studying people and their behaviours. I don't care how you behave or when or where you behave, it's why we do the things we do. Why does your behaviour change when you're in a group of people? Why are you more likely to follow instructions if the person is taller and bigger than you? A lot of it came from my interest in science and evolution, and I thought, why do we do the things we do? What purpose has it got to help us in everyday life in terms of how we evolved and how it helped us evolve? So I think that would be the best answer to what got me interested. I'm not in it to be a sit down, tell me how do you feel psychologist. I'm in it to study people. I'm in it to put people in a lab, in a boxed room, and see how they react to certain stimuli or that. So I'm kind of like a mad scientist, except with ethic approval. Okay, next question / questions is from Fruity K. First question was, were you always an atheist? No, I wasn't. In my previous videos, I've described my family and upbringing as kind of lazy Christian, which I define as believing in God, praying sometimes, but not really going to church or following the Bible or even reading the Bible. So I was a lazy Christian up until the age of about 13, where something quite horrible happened to me and I looked to God for support. I look to prayer, and I look to, why is this happening to me? Now, you have to remember that I was 13 at the time, and of course all 13-year-olds are very egocentric and, why me? Why did this happen to me? The world is so unfair. So my methods may not have been the best, but it did get me to the point where I am now. So since I got no answers from God, obviously, I started to think, wait, why am I praying to / talking to some invisible being that I've never questioned before, because it's just kind of been presumed that he is there and that he is always watching? And if he is really an all-loving God, why did he let this happen to me? As I said before, very egocentric 13-year-old. But yeah, that kind of led me on the path to questioning, and it kind of snowballed from there. And it's only been in the last 18 months or so that I've really taken it seriously, really sought out information, sought out similar people to me to get different ideas and viewpoints on things. And yeah, it's become kind of a real interest of mine within the last 18 months. So I'm kind of a new atheist, not in the sense of the new atheist movement, but I'm genuinely a new atheist. Fruity K's next couple of questions I'll answer quickly. Who are your favourite YouTubers thus far? I have different groups of favourites. I have people who I consider friends. I consider Lafayette a really good friend of mine, and therefore I think he's a great YouTuber, because I'm obviously biased, but he does make great videos. Fruity K, I really enjoy yours, actually. So I'm glad you asked that question, because I could say that you are one of my favourite YouTube users. I also enjoy Melody Sheep. I love the Symphony of Science. I know many people don't like auto-tune, and I usually don't, but there's something really beautiful about those videos. I really like Chattiest Spike. Is it 2 or 1? Or, you know, Chattiest Spike. I also really enjoy Rebecca Watson's. I know there's been controversy about her lately, but I like her sense of humour and how she speaks. I'm sure there are many others that I enjoy, but they're the first ones that pop into my head. They're the people that I always watch their videos whenever they come up on my home screen. So they're my favourites. And what's the next one? What sorts of books do you love to read? I'm mainly a non-fiction type of girl. If it is fiction, it has to be really good right at the beginning, because I have a very short attention span. So yeah, I like non-fiction books about psychology, mental disorders, evolution, biology, philosophy, atheism, Christianity, history, you name it and I'll read it, basically. And I also enjoy reading science magazines, which makes me really popular and cool. But yeah, so they're my favourite things to read. But fiction-wise, I love sci-fi. At the moment, I'm reading Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I know I'm very late on the bandwagon with, but I only recently found it online and put it on my ebook reader. I like kind of futuristic / sci-fi, like 1984, Brave New World, all that kind of really dark, historic, no, not historic, futuristic. I'll stop talking now. Okay, next question comes from Mr. Truth Addict. I jokingly said at the end of the video that prompted these questions you could ask me about Australia or kangaroos or something like that, so he did take me up on this. Do you ride a kangaroo to school, and have you ever tried kangaroo meat? No, I have not ridden a kangaroo to school. However, my uni campus is full of them, so I'm sure if I really wanted to, I could climb on the back and hop away into the sunset. But it might just kick me in the face, so Probably not. Have I tried kangaroo meat? Yes, I have. I have it quite regularly, actually. It is a cheap and really healthy meat. It's got hardly any fat and lots of protein in it, and it's really tasty. You can't taste the difference between minced kangaroo meat and minced beef. So, and seeing as though kangaroos are technically pests in Australia, and they are shot and killed because when they eat grass, they actually pull it up from the roots instead of just kind of nibbling the top, so it ruins a lot of farmers' crops. They're sold as a meat here. Isn't it great that we're the only country that eats animals on our national emblem? Next question is from Carrion Call 94. Now, I had to think a little bit about the answer to this question. They ask, what's the absolute weirdest thought or series of thoughts that you've ever caught yourself having? Now, I don't consider these to be weird because I think a lot of people, whether they admit it or not, have thought about this. But I often think about how I would commit the perfect crime. I've previously mentioned that I am really into forensic science and criminology and serial killers and the whole kind of psychology and science behind that. So I have read up a lot about blood splatter analysis, DNA, fingerprints, all that jazz. And I often, in my downtime, find myself thinking, I reckon I could get away with murder if I really wanted to. So it might not be weird thoughts, probably unhealthy, but probably not weird in the sense that no one else has thought about this. I think a lot of people have thought about this and do think that they could get away with the perfect crime. I don't know whether it's arrogant or not to think so, but yeah, I'd probably have to say they're my weirdest thoughts or series of thoughts. Next question is from Set Haterid. They ask, do you think that we can indeed be connected through collective unconscious? Now, this is a reference to a psychologist, Jung, who suggested that all humans are born and kind of connected through a spiritual unconscious. I tend not to believe in the wishy-washy, airy-fairy psychology theories. I'm more so a science grounded, like Skinner or Buss or a lot of the theories that have some scientific grounding to them and not just, oh, well, I think we're connected by unconscious. It sounds spiritual. So I don't think we are connected by a collective unconscious, but I do think that we all have similar thoughts and archetypes. But I don't think that we're necessarily connected in that way, because I tend to believe that we are beings made of cells, atoms, all that kind of stuff, and there's no kind of magic associated with how we connect with each other in a unconscious or spiritual way. Next question was, what do you think about the fact that mentally disturbed people seek power more than healthy ones? Well, it depends on how you define mentally disturbed. Schizophrenics, you could probably define as mentally disturbed. They often have illusions of grandeur in which they think that they are an important figure, or that they are more powerful and influential than others. Some schizophrenics believe they're Jesus. So that would make sense that they would seek more power that way, because they have these delusions that they are more powerful. But I don't really know how to answer that, because you'd have to really define mentally disturbed people, and there's a whole array of psychological and mental problems which could fit under that category. So yeah. This is one of my favourite questions that was asked. It was asked by the Atheist Paladin, and they ask, if you could have one piece of sci-fi technology, what would it be and why? I knew the answer to this straight away, because I often think about what I would do with this piece of sci-fi technology, because, you know, I don't have a life. I would definitely pick a time machine, whether it's the time machine from the book The Time Machine, or one that does the same job, basically. I would love to be able to travel back and forth throughout time. One, because I'm a history nut and I love everything about ancient Greece, Rome, Egypt, all that jazz. Two, because I am a sci-fi and futuristic nut, so I would love to see what happens in the future. Now, I've thought about this a lot, and I would have to make sure that I cannot change anything in history. So I would only have to be a spectator. You know, the whole butterfly effect, step on a butterfly, change the course of time. So I'd have to be kind of like a ghost hovering above what's happening, but I'd still love to see it. So definitely a time machine, because I'm a massive nerd. Okay, good question from Avatar of Avatar. Who will win, religion or science in the long run? Now, is it bad that as soon as I read this question, I thought of the South Park episode in which otters take over the atheist world? I love that episode. I'm biased, but I definitely think science, because if you look at how humans have progressed in the last however many thousand years, science has definitely taken over a lot of aspects of human life. Like, I was amazed this morning. I was taking some medication. I was thinking, this tiny pill is going to change the way my body works today. It's going to change the synapses that fire in my brain. It's going to change my hormones. It's going to change everything. Now, I don't think it's a case of winning and losing, but I do think that science will kind of overtake religion in the long run. But as I said, that's probably very much bias on my part, because I actually want science to win. Now, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. Pirate. Anyway, they ask, how do you think future breakthroughs in neurology will affect the field of psychology? I'm personally so excited about the future of neuroscience and neurology. That's the field that I want to get into. And I think that it will kind of get rid of a lot of the, as I was speaking about before, the kind of wishy-washy, oh, I think this is what happens in the brain. If we can study and scan and see what's actually happening in the brain, and study neurology and neuroscience, I think that it will definitely affect the field of psychology in a positive way, because we'll have more grounded science and more empirical evidence of what we're actually thinking, instead of just kind of theories that we've thrown out there that make sense, so we're going to accept them anyway. So I'm really excited about the future of neurology.